Awakened ones, your unseen journey reveals a sacred truth on August 25th. I never expected a single dream to change everything. My heart thudded in my chest, gripped by an urgency I couldn't understand. I woke with a start, drenched in sweat, the haunting images still dancing behind my eyelids. Shadows flickered in my room, whispering secrets I was too afraid to decode. This wasn't just a dream, it felt like a message from the universe, a cosmic paper airplane that crashed right into my soul. Doubt lingered like a thick fog, wrapping around me. I sat on the edge of my bed, trembling hands clutching the sheets, lost in thought. The clock ticked insistently as if urging me to decipher the significance of what I had seen. I could still feel the energy pulsing through me, an electric charge prickling against my skin. I tried to meditate, to find calm in the storm, but the visions were relentless. The trees outside seemed to sway in rhythm with my racing thoughts, their leaves whispering a language I almost understood. I ventured outside. The light was strange, surreal. The world shimmered with an otherworldly glow, shadows dancing at the corners of my vision. I cocked my head, listening intently. Was that a rustle, or just my imagination? Birds sang an eerie tune, flapping in a hasty ballet as if they were part of my unfolding drama. Were they part of this journey? My heart ached with questions, each one sharper than the last. What did it all mean? Was I destined for something beyond my mundane existence? I felt it in my bones, something was coming, something hidden beneath the surface of reality. As I strolled through the neighborhood, the unmistakable sensation of being observed washed over me. Eyes peered from behind curtains, brows furrowed in speculation. The tension was palpable, the sheer weight of unasked questions hanging in the air. I could almost hear them whispering, "What is she up to? Did you feel that energy?" I sensed their judgment, confusion, disbelief. But I couldn't stop. I was drawn toward an unseen thread, weaving through the fabric of my life. I stopped at a fountain in the park, the water glistening as it danced in chaotic patterns beautiful and wild. My chest tightened, realizing I was standing at a crossroads of the known and the unknown. A shiver raced down my spine. What if this dream was only the beginning? The sun dipped low, casting elongated shadows and sharpening edges in the swirling dusk. The world felt alive, vibrant yet unsettling. Suddenly, a figure caught my eye. An old woman sat on a bench, her gaze piercing and wise. She smiled knowingly, as if she held the key to my unasked questions. There was an undeniable connection, a spark that ignited the air between us. Her eyes glimmered with secrets, dark pools of wisdom shrouded in mystery. I took a tentative step forward, but hesitation froze me in place. What was I meant to ask? What was I meant to learn? Then, as if reading my thoughts, she leaned closer, her voice a soft breeze. "The truth you seek is woven in the fabric of your dreams, child. Are you ready to awaken?" Her words hung in the air. My heart raced, and the world blurred around me. Clarity swept in and out like the rush of the waves, yet pieces remained in shadows. I felt spun in a web of uncertainty, desperately wanting to untangle it, to uncover the sacred truth. I took a step back, my mind reeling. What was I really ready for? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the old woman's presence seemed to envelop me, a sudden rush of wind swept through the park, sending ripples across the surface of the fountain and stirring the leaves around us. I felt an inexplicable pull toward her, as if the very air whispered urgencies that only she could decode. The shadows thickened, edging closer as darkness encroached, and I felt a cosmic heartbeat echoing in the stillness. Every path has its lessons, child, she said, her voice a melody laced with age. Tell me, what is it that you fear the most? My breath caught in my throat. Was it fear of the unknown? The unsettling nature of my awakening brushed at the fringes of my consciousness like a distant echo of something I once buried. I hesitated, mind racing. What did I fear? Being vulnerable? Losing my way in this profound journey? The idea of greatness tied uncomfortably to an ordinary existence gnawed at me. I fear losing myself in what I don't understand, I finally admitted, feeling the weight of my vulnerability hang heavy in the air. What if I'm not meant for this? What if it only leads to despair? The old woman laughed softly, a sound like a gentle chime, harmonizing with the evening song of the cricket's awakening. Ah, but despair only comes when one turns away from the truth, dear one. It is the cocoon of ignorance that stifles growth, the flower blooms when it reaches for the light. You must confront your uncertainties to find clarity. What light are you reaching for? The question hung between us like the twilight sky, a tapestry of fading light threaded with the promise of illumination. Her words sparked something deep within me, an ember igniting a fire of resilience I hadn't known was there. I want to understand my purpose. I want to know why I am here. The old woman nodded, her serious demeanor juxtaposed with the kind smile that adorned her face. Then follow the signs, and do not be afraid of the unknown. The universe speaks in whispers, in synchronicities, in dreams. Pay attention. What have you discovered so far? I thought back to the fragments of my mind swirling in the aftershocks of my dream, the cryptic symbols, the faces of unfamiliar beings, the current of energy that pulsed beneath my skin. I don't know. It feels elusive, like trying to catch smoke with my bare hands. Her eyes sparkled with a knowing light. Perhaps it isn't about catching what is elusive but embracing the journey it leads you on. Every moment is a sign, every person is part of your tapestry. Look around you. The world is alive, and it senses your yearning. As I glanced around, the park transformed in my eyes. The trees appeared taller, their trunks more robust. The wind carried whispers that began to sound like words, a language spoken not with syllables but with vibrations. The fountain, once merely a splash of water, transformed into a marvel of life, each droplet a memory of the past cascading into the present. A sense of urgency grew. I felt as if the universe was breathing through me, showing me the patterns, nudging me towards a revelation. I turned my gaze back to the old woman, desperation pooling in my heart. How do I find these signs? How do I know what they mean? She raised a finger to her lips, a gesture that silenced my racing mind. Close your eyes. Listen deeply. Your heart knows the language of the universe, it has always been speaking. Trust it. I squeezed my eyes shut, and the world dissolved into darkness. My mind began to whirl, and suddenly, images flooded back, visions of the dream, a vast ocean shimmering under a golden sun, a bird soaring through a cerulean sky, an endless path lined with blossoming flowers. Breathe, the voice guided softly. What stirs your spirit? What calls you to awaken? I felt warmth spreading through me, awakening memories, dreams yet to be realized. The ocean symbolized depth, the bird freedom, the path life itself, filled with uncertainties but bursting with possibilities. When I opened my eyes once more, the old woman was gone, like mist evaporating in the morning light. The bench she had occupied remained empty. Yet her essence lingered like a comforting breeze. I stood there alone, with 1,000 thoughts tumbling through my mind, the park now wrapping around me in an intimate embrace. The world teemed with newfound vitality, every sound more vibrant, every color sharper. But I still was left with questions. What signs should I look for? How would I decipher their meanings? And was I truly ready to awaken fully, risking the safety of my familiar self? As I walked back home, the weight of these questions hung thickly in the air, interlaced with an exhilarating sense of curiosity. The journey was only beginning, and within me simmered the desire for truth, waiting to unfold in its own time. The universe had cast its spell, and now, it was my turn to explore the unseen, to embrace the unknown. What awaited me in the depths of my own awakening? The sun began to rise, spilling golden light across the quiet streets as I made my way home. Each step pulsed with energy, every crack in the pavement whispering secrets of the earth. My heart raced, not with fear but with a burgeoning anticipation, as if I were on the brink of discovering something monumental. The day stretched before me like an untouched canvas, waiting for the brushstrokes of my choices to define it. I paused at a corner, where a market unfolded, humming with life. A multitude of scents wafted through the air: fresh herbs, ripe fruits, the spicy notes of market food sizzling on outdoor grills. I was drawn to a stall bursting with vibrant produce. An elderly vendor with twinkling eyes caught my gaze and smiled, as though he sensed the tremors of my spirit. "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" he said, his voice warm like the sun.it is. "It feels different somehow," I replied, my words opening a door I hadn't yet realized was there. "In what way?" he probed, handing me a ripe peach. It was warm from the sun and vibrated with a sweetness that seemed emblematic of life itself. Think I'm awakening to something deeper, I admitted, feeling a little foolish yet emboldened by the man's gentle encouragement. The vendor chuckled. "Ah, the awakening, a journey worth every challenge. You might find that the universe will speak to you in signs, books you stumble upon, people you meet, the rhythms of nature. This peach, for instance," he said, gesturing to the fruit in my hand, "isn't just a peach. It's a reminder of sweetness in life, a token of the bountiful gifts around us. Savor it." I nodded, taking a bite, the juices exploding on my tongue, overwhelming in their richness. As I tasted, I felt connected to the earth, to the cycle of growth stretching back through generations. Was this moment a sign? A gesture from the cosmos, nudging me to appreciate the little miracles that framed my existence? Lost in thought, I wandered deeper into the market, exploring its vibrant tapestry. A group of musicians played nearby, their melodies weaving through the air like silken threads. Drawn to the music, I closed my eyes and let the sound wash over me. It echoed the heartbeat I felt last night in the park, igniting a resonance within. When I opened my eyes, a gust of wind swept through, carrying a flurry of autumn leaves that danced in the sunlight. Among them, one particularly vibrant leaf fluttered down, landing at my feet. I knelt to pick it up, running my fingers over its veins, feeling a connection to nature's artistry. Was this leaf a sign, a message left behind just for me? A child ran past, giggling, chasing a butterfly that flitted from flower to flower, carefree and unburdened by the complexities that often shrouded adulthood. Watching them, I was struck by the purity of their joy, the simple brilliance of existence unencumbered by the weight of expectation. In that fleeting moment, I pondered the path ahead, woven with challenges and bliss but filled with these moments of existence that sang with life. As I continued my exploration, I stumbled upon an open book laying on a bench, discarded as if waiting for me. I opened it and found handwritten notes filling the margins, thoughts woven into the text. One passage caught my eye: "Every wanderer seeks their path, but it is the heart that knows where to go." Could this be another sign? Or perhaps just a coincidence? Yet, in my gut, a soft voice knew the truth: nothing was truly coincidental in this journey. Every encounter, every breath, every story, each was a thread in my ever-expanding tapestry of awakening. When I finally made my way home, I carried not just the memory of the day but the promise of discovery nestled within me. Different fragments of knowledge circled my thoughts: the vendor, the music, the leaf, the book, echoes of interconnected moments that felt orchestrated. The realization that each incident had significance began to stitch my uncertainties into a new understanding. Settling into an armchair, I closed my eyes, breathing deeply. The day's signs coalesced in my mind, an intricate pattern that spoke of awakening and enchantment. Yet, a whisper inside questioned me still: how would I honor these signs? Would I possess the wisdom to interpret their language? And what awaited me beyond the horizon of this newfound reality? As the sun bowed down and twilight descended, an array of stars appeared, twinkling in the vastness of the night. With each glimmer, a question emerged, a beckoning curiosity: in this journey towards awakening, what truths lie just beyond what I've learned? What revelations may shift the very foundation of who I am destined to become? The days that followed passed like ripples on a still pond, each moment deepening the sense of awakening that had enveloped me. The city transformed under the lens of my new perspective, its familiar streets became rich with textures, colors, and sounds, offering revelations in every crevice. My phone buzzed occasionally with messages, yet I found myself increasingly enchanted by the world outside the screen. One afternoon, I ventured into a nearby park, seeking solace amid the trees. Sunlight filtered through the emerald canopy, casting intricate shadows on the ground as if nature painted a mural of fleeting moments. I settled on a bench beneath an old oak, its gnarled branches reaching out like a wise elder ready to share secrets of the universe. As I sat in silence, absorbed in the rhythmic chirping of crickets and the whispering breeze, something drew my gaze toward a small cluster of people gathered a short distance away. They circled a figure clad in flowing white garments, who appeared to be leading a meditation session. The way the participants closed their eyes and swayed gently reminded me of a dance, unrestrained, pure. Caught in a sudden urge to join them, I stood and walked over, entranced by the calm aura that surrounded the group. The meditator, with a serene expression, opened her eyes and beckoned me closer. "You wish for peace?" she asked with a knowing smile. Her voice felt like a caress, unraveling some knots of tension deep within me. "Yes," I breathed, scarcely aware of my own words. "Then breathe with us. The journey you are on is a call to rediscover the stillness of your being. Let the winds of change guide you." She returned her gaze to the heavens, and like a chain reaction, the others followed her lead, lifting their faces upward as if to catch the very essence of the universe pouring down upon them. With hesitant steps, I joined the circle, surprisingly comforted by the collective energy pulsating among us. We closed our eyes, inhaling deeply, feeling our breaths weave into a singular rhythm. I surrendered, releasing the jagged edges of my worries, and felt an awakening shift within, a quietude that whispered answers to questions I had barely dared to ask. Minutes melted into an eternity, and at the end of the session, as we opened our eyes, the meditator spoke again. "Remember, the stars above reflect the light within you. Seek alignment, and you shall find clarity. But beware of the noise, for it often obscures the truth." As her words hung in the air, I felt an electric charge course through me. Were those not my own unspoken doubts she was addressing? The synapses of thought fired one after another, forging connections between my experiences and these unfolding truths. With a sense of urgency, I approached her afterward. "How do I follow the signs I've been given?" I asked, my voice quavering with a blend of vulnerability and hope. "They manifest in different forms," she replied, her gaze penetrating yet gentle. "Sometimes they are loud, sometimes soft, sometimes they come as guidance through others, or as reflections within yourself. It is your heart that will teach you to recognize them. Keep seeking, and do not shy away from discomfort, for it often carries the most profound lessons." As I walked home, my mind intertwined with her words, I pondered the duality of comfort and discomfort. Softer truths always seemed easy to embrace, but could the harsher ones hold as much profundity? My previous encounters flashed through my mind: the vendor, the music, the leaf, the book. All symbols intertwined with a larger narrative I was yet to understand. That evening, I searched through my bookshelf, my fingers dancing over the spines of various titles until one caught my eye, a book half buried beneath others, gathering dust. I pulled it out, The Alchemy of Awakening. Flipping through its pages, I felt an electric warmth rise, the words appearing to shimmer with promise. I settled into my chair, the book cradled in my lap and a cup of tea beside me. As I read, passages sprang to life, igniting old memories and new questions alike. The concept of alchemy, the transformation of base metals into gold, resonated, echoing the journey of transformation I coveted for myself. But might my awakening require more than mere introspection? I wondered. What if the answers lay in the willingness to engage with those around me, those who might have faced their own alchemical transformations? As the night deepened and starlight poured in through my window, illuminating my surroundings with ethereal glow, I was left suspended between the known and the unknown. What truths lay dormant in the stories of others? whose journeys could connect with my own, illuminating the unseen paths before me. In my quest for awakening, was it not only the signs that would reveal sacred truths, but also the web of human experience that could guide me toward my ultimate transformation? The following days unfurled like the petals of a blooming flower, each revealing new layers of insight. With every moment spent in contemplative silence, I found myself craving connection not just with the world around me, but with the stories of others who too were seeking their truths. The park became a refuge for my thoughts, and it was there, beneath the wise oak, that I began to observe the interactions of those who frequented this space. An artist sketching near the fountain, a couple practicing yoga on the grass, children cascading laughter as they played, each person a thread in the tapestry of existence, each story a fragment of a much larger narrative. One afternoon, I noticed a woman sitting on the same bench I used to claim as my own, her notebook open, and a pencil poised delicately between her fingers. Her brow furrowed in concentration as she scribbled, seemingly lost in the depths of her thoughts. Curiosity tugged at me, and I approached her, drawn by an unseen force, as if the universe was nudging me forward. "Hello," I said softly, not wanting to disturb her concentration. "What are you writing?" She looked up, her eyes sparkling with a light that felt both familiar and foreign. "I'm trying to capture the essence of this park. There's something magical about it, don't you think? A hidden energy that whispers stories to those who listen." Intrigued, I sat down beside her. "I've been feeling that too. It's as if every leaf and shadow has a voice, a lesson waiting to be unveiled." Her smile deepened. "That's precisely it. We're all interconnected in this great web of life. Every moment is a chance for awakening, for understanding who we are among the stars." We began to share our journeys, our vulnerabilities spilling over into the space between us like petals carried on the wind. She revealed her struggles with anxiety and the way writing had helped her transform fear into art, while I spoke about my quest for clarity and the whispers I sensed all around me. As we animatedly exchanged thoughts, a gentle breeze lifted the edges of her notebook, and one of the pages flipped open to reveal a poem titled "The Unseen." The words leapt from the page as vibrant and alive as the sky blushing at dusk. It spoke of searching, longing, and the beauty found within conflicting emotions, light and dark, joy and sorrow, the balance that fuels existence. After reading the poem aloud, a profound silence enveloped us, filled with the mutual understanding that this moment was more than mere coincidence. It felt like a confluence of destinies. I could almost hear the universe conspiring to weave our paths together. "Have you ever felt the presence of something greater when connecting with others?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, yet resonating with depth. I nodded, the memory of my meditation session flaring back to life. "Absolutely. It's as if each conversation is a doorway leading to a realm of insight that transcends individual experiences. Perhaps our stories are the fragments of a larger mosaic," she mused, her eyes brightening. "In sharing, we not only discover ourselves but illuminate the paths for one another." As daylight waned, painting the horizon in hues of orange and purple, I thought of the many voices echoing through time, each bearing wisdom waiting to be unearthed. Was this why my heart ached for connection, for the shared knowledge that might set the soul ablaze? As we parted ways, I felt a spark ignite within, a reminder that the quest for truth is often woven through relationships. What if my awakening, my journey, was not solely a solitary pursuit? What if the shared vulnerabilities and triumphs of others held the keys to the revelations I sought? Standing amidst the encroaching twilight, I looked up at the sky, teeming with stars. Each one seemed to wink knowingly, as if encouraging me to forge deeper connections. In this vast universe filled with unseen forces, what truths lay waiting to surface in the untold stories of those I would encounter? How could I, too, become a guide for others in their quests, reflecting light into their shadows? With an evening breeze brushing against my skin, I made a silent promise to explore this uncharted territory of shared humanity. The journey ahead sparkled with potential, laced with unspoken questions that lingered in the air like the last echoes of a haunting melody. What connections awaited? What shared awakenings might illuminate the path toward the ultimate truth? The following week began with an unexpected heaviness in the air, an almost palpable energy that seemed to press against my chest as I approached the park once more. I felt drawn to the quiet sanctuary, a calling as urgent as the thrum of my own heartbeat. Perhaps this was a sign urging me to seek deeper connections, to unearth the hidden truths that lay nestled within the narratives of those around me. As I settled beneath the familiar oak, I noticed an elderly man sitting on a nearby bench, a worn book resting on his lap. His beard was wild and white, a testament to years spent tracing the lines of life's complexities. He caught my gaze and offered a gentle smile, an invitation not just to observe but to engage. "Would you care to join me?" He beckoned, his voice rich like honey, layered with the weight of wisdom. I nodded, feeling a magnetic pull toward him, an unarticulated understanding between us that we were both seekers of something profound. "What brings you to this sacred space?" he asked, his eyes glimmering with a mischief hinting at countless stories waiting to be shared. "I am searching for truth, I think," I replied, feeling a tinge of vulnerability. "I've discovered that the narratives woven between us hold immense power and insight." He chuckled softly. "Ah, the quest for truth. It takes many forms, doesn't it? Sometimes you can find it in the silence of a moment, or in the laughter of a child. Other times, it resides in the hardest lessons learned." I leaned in, intrigued. "What do you believe is the hardest lesson?" "Ah, that's a tale for another day." He paused, allowing space for curiosity to blossom. "But one of the sweetest realities I've come to know is that connection is the bridge to understanding. Each life you touch, each story you glean, maps a path through the chaos of existence." His words felt like threads pulling me into a tapestry of shared experiences. "I met a woman here last week, and we spoke of vulnerability and the light that sharing our truths can bring. It ignited something within me, this realization that perhaps my journey is intertwined with the journeys of others." The old man's eyes sparkled with the flicker of recognition. "And perhaps those threads are leading you to your sacred truth. But caution, my friend, not all paths are without thorns. The deeper you immerse yourself in the human experience, the more shadows you may encounter." "Shadows?" I repeated, intrigued by his choice of words. He nodded solemnly. "Yes, indeed. We often seek the light, but the shadows hold their own wisdom. They reveal fears unhealed, stories untold, and sorrows buried deep within. Sometimes, it is in facing these shadows that you uncover the most beautiful truths." I pondered his words, the weight of them resonating within. What shadows had I yet to confront in my own search? Was there a part of my story I had been reluctant to share that could shed light on my path or on the paths of others? As we exchanged stories, he recounted a childhood spent in a war-torn land, weaving tales of resilience and redemption that flowed like a contagious river of hope. I shared my recent experiences of seeking connection, and how it expanded my understanding of my own humanity. The sun began to dip, painting the sky in jewel tones, and I felt an urgency, a spark of inspiration fueled by our exchange. What if each person is, in essence, a chapter in a much larger book? Each encounter gifted with the possibility to alter the narrative. The old man nodded, his expression contemplative. "Precisely. Enhancing one's journey by unlocking the doors of others' stories. However, be wary of the weight that carries. You may find yourself forever changed." As the shadows lengthened and the cool air enveloped us, I felt the profound synchronicity of our meeting. In that moment, a silence fell between us, thick with the unspoken recognition that seeking wisdom from the unseen was part of a larger divine orchestration. As I stood to leave, I realized that my journey was morphing into a quest not just for personal truth but also for shared revelations. I knew I would encounter many souls, each bearing stories that held the potential to teach me about my own shadows, and perhaps guide me toward uncharted territories of wisdom. With a silent promise to honor these encounters, I began to walk away. Yet, lingering in my mind was a new question, vibrant and stirring among the leaves of contemplation. In what ways could I embrace both light and shadow in my journey, honoring the entire spectrum of existence? How could I ensure that in seeking truth, I would remain open to the lessons gifted by the unseen? The following day found me once more in the embrace of the park, still enthralled by the threads of connection unfurling around me. Morning dew sparkled like tiny diamonds on the grass, hinting at possibilities waiting to be discovered beneath the shimmering surface of the ordinary. As I wandered down a familiar path, my mind buzzed with the memories of the previous encounters. Each moment felt like a step deeper into a labyrinth of consciousness, where every turn could lead to unexpected revelations. The old man's wisdom echoed within me, a siren call urging me to keep pursuing the shadows while embracing the light. I paused to observe a small group of children playing nearby, their laughter punctuating the crisp air with notes of joy and freedom. I felt a tug in my heart, a longing for the unfiltered authenticity present in their exuberance. I approached, drawn not just to their laughter but to the way they embraced life with unyielding openness. As I sat on a nearby bench, one little girl, with curls bouncing like sunlight itself, darted over, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Wanna play tag? It's the best game ever!" she exclaimed, eyes wide like portals of innocence. That I hesitated, an inner monologue urging caution. Could this be what I had been searching for, a reminder of the simplicity found in surrendering to the moment? I smiled, suddenly remembering the wisdom of connection that the old man imparted. Without dwelling on the complexities of my own journey, I nodded enthusiastically, "Sure. I'm in." As we dashed around, giggles spilling from our lips like pure magic, I felt an exhilarating freedom wash over me. Each small victory captured in the dance of the gave me a gentle chase, laughter, and the sheer joy of being. It was as if I had shed a significant weight during those playful moments, no longer just a seeker burdened by internal quests but a participant in life's joyous dance. When the game finally drew to a close, the little girl flopped down beside me, her chest heaving in delight. "You're really fast. How did you get so good at tag?" she asked, a curious seriousness masking her child's grin. I pondered. "I guess I just learned to play. Sometimes you have to let go of worrying about the outcome and just enjoy running," she nodded gravely, as if harboring the secret wisdom of the ages. Suddenly, a spark glimmered in her eyes. "Adults forget that," she declared, a truth not easily uttered in the language of adulthood. "They're always looking for answers, and they miss the fun." We sat together, the silence stretching, woven with understanding beyond our years. It was then I heard a gentle sigh near the oak tree. A familiar voice broke the spell. "That's the beauty of the world you're discovering. The truths we need often lie buried beneath layers of complicating thought." That I turned in surprise to find the old man, a knowing smile on his face. "Connecting with the innocence can teach us much," he added, patting the little girl on the head as she scampered off to join her friends again. "They embody truths that adults often forget, to be present, to play, to listen, and to ask questions without fear." But how do I continue holding space for both the weight of reality and the lightness of joy? I inquired, unable to escape the duality that seemed to pull at my heartstrings. His expression softened, and he leaned closer. "You emulate their spirit. Embrace the paradox. Each time life offers both shadow and light, remind yourself that neither resides without the other. The practice lies in honoring your own vulnerabilities while celebrating the mundane joys that reveal deeper truths." I stayed with the thoughts swirling in my mind as we spoke. Each moment felt richer than the last, like the layers of a delicious cake, complex with flavors yet wholly satisfying. And then a new question began to emerge, a shimmer of curiosity dancing at the edges of understanding. How can the playful innocence of others help me heal my own shadows? In what ways could their light guide me toward my sacred truth while fostering an openness to both joy and sorrow? The following day, under a sky brushed with wisps of clouds, I returned to the park, feeling the weight of yesterday's revelations mixed with a thread of anticipation. The air was still, holding its breath as if waiting for the awakening to commence anew. I sought the old man, hoping for further enlightenment, but I found myself drawn toward a different part of the park today. As I walked along an uncharted trail, the surrounding trees whispered secrets, their leaves rustling in a rhythm that felt almost musical. Each step forward brought a sense of curiosity mingled with the bittersweet taste of the unknown. The world around me appeared sharper, colors brighter, as if each blade of grass and fluttering bird was trying to convey a message, urging me to listen closely. After some time, I stumbled upon an elderly woman sitting on a worn blanket, a plethora of art supplies scattered around her. She was painting a vivid explosion of oranges and greens dancing on the canvas before her. Intrigued, I approached cautiously, hesitant to disrupt her in her creative trance. "Can you see it?" she asked, glancing up with eyes that sparkled like morning dew on a spider's web. "The way the colors collide, merging and diverging? It tells a story." "What story?" I asked, caught in her infectious enthusiasm. She smiled, her hands continuing to dance over the canvas. "Life is nothing but a tapestry of moments, each brushstroke symbolizing an experience. The light, the dark, the vibrant, and the muted. All of it matters. Sometimes, we frame things in a way that locks them within certain parameters, yet, the true beauty lies in the chaos." Reflections of her wisdom shone through her art, and I could feel a resonance in my heart. "But how do we understand the stories that hurt?" I ventured, grappling with my shadows that loomed amidst the brightness. She paused, her brush hovering over the canvas. "You embrace them. Pain, like vibrant paint, shapes us. Acknowledge it. Let it be part of your story. It adds depth, it invites colors to emerge that you may not have believed existed. Is it possible to transform the pain into something beautiful?" I asked, yearning to understand this profound relationship between suffering and creation. "Absolutely," she replied, her gaze steady. "Every artist faces moments of despair. They can break your spirit or ignite your passion. It's about how you choose to respond. Look closer, and you might discover that beauty often blooms from the darkest corners of our lives." Silence enveloped us as I contemplated her words. In that stillness, a fluttering butterfly landed delicately on the edge of her canvas. It stirred something deep within me, a vivid reminder that even the simplest creatures could inspire transformation and resilience. "What do you think it means?" I whispered, entranced by the delicate magic before me. "The butterfly symbolizes change, beauty, and the potential to transcend," she whispered back, as though we were sharing a sacred secret. "It invites you to reflect on your own metamorphosis. Sometimes, we must emerge from the darkness to reveal our true selves." With renewed curiosity, I left her the artist's haven, enchanted by the interwoven threads of conversation that had begun unraveling my understanding. The park became a canvas unto itself, embellished with vivid stories, continuous awakenings, and unanswered questions waiting to be explored. As I departed, I couldn't shake the thought the butterfly's story mirrored mine. What wings were yet to unfurl in my journey? In my quest for deeper truths, could I dare to embrace the juxtaposition of light and darkness, acknowledging my own scars as beautiful confessions of existence? What colors lay hidden, waiting to be painted into the life I was learning to live? I returned to the park the following day, drawn by an unseen force, as though the fabric of space had reknitted itself around my previous encounters. The sun hung in the sky, casting elongated shadows that invoked the mystery of the unknown. Each whisper of the wind carried with it fragments of yesterday's wisdom, stirring a gentle resolve within me. As I wandered the familiar trail, I observed the trees, their trunks gnarled, yet standing resolutely as if guarding secrets of the universe. It wasn't long before I noticed a peculiar shimmer flickering in the corner of my eye, leading me to a secluded grove where vines embraced the earth tightly. In the heart of this hidden sanctuary, I encountered an unusual sight, a gathering of people, each encircled around a large, flat stone. They sat cross-legged, eyes closed, surrendering to the stillness that enveloped them. Curiosity compelled me to approach. As I inched closer, I could hear the soft, collective hum of their voices, a melodic resonance echoing through the grove. There was a palpable energy, one that seemed to pulse warmly, intertwining with my heartbeat. A woman with a bright orange scarf caught my gaze, her serene expression reflecting profound peace. She opened her eyes and spoke, her voice carrying the weight of 1,000 stories. "Join us, seeker," she invited, gesturing for me to step into the circle. Hesitant yet intrigued, I took my place among them, feeling the comforting pull of this shared sacred space. It felt as if my essence was entwining with theirs, a chapter one had yet to write. "Here, we honor the silence, allowing our truths to rise," she continued, her gaze unwavering. "We believe that by sharing our stories, we unearth the power that resides within us all. It is a dance of vulnerability, revealing what often lies hidden." I sat quietly, absorbing the energy around me. They began to share stories of loss and triumph, moments that shaped them, illuminating darkness with the glow of newfound understanding. Each narrative was raw, unapologetic. The words slithered into my consciousness, stirring dormant emotions I had yet to confront. My heartbeat quickened as I pondered my own tales, the layers of hurt I had woven into the fabric of my being. When my turn came, I took a deep breath, the weight of vulnerability bearing down on me. "I've been on a quest to understand my own journey through pain," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But I struggle to see how the shadows could contribute to anything beautiful." The circle leaned in, attentive, yet there was no rush to provide answers. The orange-scarfed woman regarded me with patience, her presence an invitation to delve deeper. "What if the shadows are not enemies but allies?" she asked. "What if they exist to guide you to a hidden light within?" Those words lingered like a melody in the air. I felt an ancient recognition, a call to embrace my experiences rather than confine them to silence. Perhaps each scar was a testament, a story etched into my soul reflecting moments that invited growth. Suddenly, one of the participants stood, a middle-aged man whose eyes brimmed with vulnerability. He spoke of his journey through grief, how he had danced with despair until he became one with it, only to discover hidden reservoirs of strength he never knew existed. "Embrace each facet of your journey," he urged, as tears glistened in his eyes. "Sometimes, it's in the ashes we find the seeds of renewal." The circle erupted into a soft chorus of affirmations, each participant sharing their supportive whispers, enfolding me in unity. In that moment, I felt these individuals were mirrors, reflecting fragments of my unresolved truths. What nourishing soil might lie beneath my pain? Could it be possible that my struggles could seed a garden of growth that I had yet to explore? As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, the gathering came to an end. I felt lighter, yet profound questions twirled in my mind like autumn leaves caught in a breeze. How do we cultivate the beauty found in our scars? What sacred truths await my unveiling as I dare to immerse myself in both light and shadow? The journey felt endless, with new queries beckoning from the horizon, igniting the spark of curiosity to keep venturing into the unknown. The following days felt like a weave of intricate patterns, each experience a thread contributing to the larger tapestry of my awakening. I returned to the park, feeling as though I was guided by an invisible hand toward deeper understandings. The air was crisp, carrying whispers of transformation, and I felt eager to embrace whatever revelations awaited me. I arrived at my favorite oak tree, settling beneath its sprawling branches, where I found solace amidst rustling leaves and dancing shadows. The echoes of the gathering still resonated within me, their stories swirling like starlight through my thoughts. Each tiny moment of connection seemed to amplify my desire to explore the deeper truths of life, and so I sat in silence, ready to let the universe speak. As I closed my eyes, the world around me softened, and I felt as though I were being cradled by the very essence of existence. I breathed deeply, surrendering to the stillness, focusing on the gentle rhythm of my heartbeat. It was a familiar pulse, yet on this day, it carried a different weight, a charge of possibility sparking forth from within, and then it came, as if woven from the fabric of a dream, a vision illuminating the darkness of my mind. I saw myself standing at the edge of a vast, shimmering ocean, waves crashing rhythmically against rocks, salty air weaving through my hair. It was a landscape bursting with color, and I could feel the energy of every droplet's journey, each one returning to its source, endlessly cycling between chaos and tranquility. In that moment, a profound clarity flooded through me. The ocean was a metaphor for life, ever-changing, powerful, yet gentle at its core. It represented the culmination of my journey, unveiling the acknowledgement that every hardship I faced was merely a wave that would eventually ebb, leaving behind a treasure of insight. I understood that in life, embracing chaos was as vital as celebrating stillness. As I opened my eyes, the revelation continued to unfold. I realized that my journey of awakening was not meant to isolate me but rather to connect me with the intricate web of human experience. The scars I bore were not marks of weakness but badges of resilience that could serve as guiding lights for others navigating their shadows. In seeking my truth, I could become a harbor for those adrift on turbulent waters, illuminating paths toward their own awakenings. Fueled by this newfound understanding, I sought the edges of my community, crossing paths with familiar faces from the park, everyone a chapter in my story. I began inviting conversations that flowed freely, sharing my struggles with vulnerability and offering my compassion to hold space for others to uncover their truths. One afternoon, as I sat at a cafe overlooking the park, the old man I often conversed with approached, a knowing smile upon his weathered face. "I see the transformation blooming," he remarked, his eyes gleaming with approval. "You've embraced not just your own journey but the collective experiences of others." "It is a sacred practice, thank you," I replied, feeling warmth blossom within my chest. "I've realized that in connecting with others, I find pieces of myself. We are all interlinked, reflecting aspects of each other's stories." A nod from him affirmed my sentiments. "Indeed. The harmony resides in recognizing that every joy and sorrow holds wisdom like the ocean rising and falling. It is the dance of existence. As days turned into weeks, I continued immersing myself in shared narratives, weaving a support system within my community. We gathered beneath the oak, sharing our stories openly, unpacking the layers of our lives. The weight of our burdens lightened in dialogue, laughter pierced through sorrow, and tears became pathways to healing. I began to see how interconnected our journeys were, how each of us bore challenges uniquely yet resonated on a universal frequency. The shadows, once daunting and isolating, transformed into guiding lanterns, reminders that struggle is a rite of passage we all endure. Through these connections, I found the courage to confront my own lingering fears. I spoke of moments of doubt, the insecurities that had thrived in the shadows, and in doing so, I learned to embrace them, integrating the chaos of my past into the tapestry of my now. Each conversation was a save point in my awakening, a reminder that in vulnerability lies strength, and in connection blooms love. One evening, as twilight painted the sky with strokes of indigo and violet, a gathering unfolded under our beloved oak. It was a celebration of shared stories, of all we had learned, all we had discovered together. Lanterns lit the scene, casting an ethereal glow as we surrounded a makeshift bonfire, voices singing songs of our intertwined experiences. Amidst the music and the warmth of the flames, I reflected on how far I had come. The journey that once felt solitary now swelled with camaraderie. The depth of understanding and compassion we cultivated became a treasure, a sanctuary where every person was both student and teacher, revealing pieces of their truths, and in turn aiding the unveiling of others. In that moment, baptized by the understanding of unity and love, a powerful surge of gratitude washed over me. I recognized that awakening was not an endpoint, but rather the beginning. A state of continuous evolution, a dance of light and shadow where wisdom flourished in every heartbeat, and as I looked around at the faces illuminated by dancing flames, I understood with crystalline clarity, we are all sacred, a mosaic shimmering with untold stories that ripple across our shared existence. Together, we faced the darkness and celebrated the beauty of our truth, infinitely connected under the vast expanse of the ever-spinning universe. With a heart overflowing with peace and an unwavering commitment to honor this journey, I knew at last that I had come home to myself, to my purpose, and to the profound love that binds us all. We are not merely seekers of truth, but architects of light, illuminating the path together. In the symphony of existence, we awaken not alone, but as one.